transcription service of Radio Deutsche Welle presents
Our Changing World.
News-making items from the fields of science and technology that help to shape our world.
In this week's edition of Our Changing World, you'll be hearing about
An automatic traffic control system on a motor highway.
A report on so-called work accidents in the Federal Republic of Germany.
And we end the program today with sidelights from the Hannover Industrial Fair. Our first report is about an automatic traffic control system on a motor highway.
Munich, the capital of Bavaria, is often described in this country as Germany's gateway to the south. From Munich, an autobahn leads to Salzburg, and it's along this autobahn that one travels to the Bavarian lakes and Alps, to Austria, Yugoslavia, Italy, in short, to the sunny south.
Every weekend, if the weather's fine, thousands of people set out from Munich by car and head south. And most of them drive along the Salzburg Autobahn.
Statistics compiled by the Munich police show that in the 21 hours from 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon to 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, as many as 70,000 vehicles leave the city southward bound. Practically all these drivers try to get back home between 5 and 9 p.m. on Sunday evening, that's to say, within the space of 4 hours. This means that at times approximately 4,000 vehicles an hour are passing along the Autobahn.
Well, now, traffic experts claim that a motorway can only handle such a large number of vehicles if all of them keep to a certain speed. For every degree of traffic density, there's an optimal speed. The denser the traffic, the lower the speed is, because at lower speeds the safety distance that must be maintained between the individual vehicles is shorter, and thus the road can take a greater number of vehicles.
But if everyone drives just as fast as he likes, or if there's an accident, congestion immediately occurs, and the result is traffic chaos.
Up to now, the Munich authorities endeavored to deal with this situation at the weekends by having policemen erect speed limit signs on the Autobahn by hand, or, wherever necessary, divert traffic onto side roads by means of hand signals. Needless to say, this method of controlling traffic on a motor highway has many disadvantages. A great many police officers are needed on the road. No one can tell just where congestion is building up and where traffic is still moving smoothly, and finally, it is dangerous for policemen to operate on foot on a motor speedway.
For this reason, the Munich authorities decided to introduce an automatic traffic control system. This traffic control system is now being tested on a 20-mile section of the Salzburg Autobahn between Munich and Weinheim.
And this is how it works. On the 20-mile stretch of road, remote-controlled traffic signs have been erected at intervals of 1.5 miles. These are connected by cable to the Autobahn police headquarters at Holzkirchen. From here, various signs can be switched on, such as speed limit 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, or 60 miles an hour. End of speed limit, danger, accident, and so on.
At particularly critical spots along the 20-mile route, 7 television cameras have been set up, and on the TV screens, police at Autobahn headquarters can follow the traffic over the entire route. Information on traffic density at the various points is supplied by a computer.
As soon as the flow of traffic reaches a certain density, the automatic control system is switched on. The road signs light up and indicate a speed limit of, say, 60 miles an hour. As traffic density increases, the signs automatically switch to lower speed limits. When traffic thins out again, the signals automatically switch back again to the higher speed limit signs.
If congestion occurs despite this automatic regulation, on account of an accident, for example, an additional signal installation diverts cars off the Autobahn and onto the side roads at the last Autobahn exit before Munich.
This automatic remote control system, developed by the Siemens company at a cost of 2.5 million Deutsche Mark, or roughly $650,000, is the first of its kind in Europe. If it proves satisfactory on this experimental section of road on the Munich-Salzburg Autobahn, it'll be introduced on other busy trunk roads and thus help to solve Germany's increasing traffic problems.
In this connection, here are some figures to show how traffic has increased in the Federal Republic of Germany over the past years. In 1950, there were only 2 million registered motor vehicles on the roads, whereas the figure for 1965 was 13.5 million. This means that in the 15 years from 1950 to 1965, the number of motor vehicles on the roads has increased sixfold. At present, about 800,000 further vehicles are being registered every year.
All these vehicles need a great deal of road space. However, extending the existing road network is proceeding only slowly because road building is costly. 1 kilometre of Autobahn, for example, costs about 9 million Deutschmark. That's about $2.5 million and takes a long time. The new Siemens installation in Munich demonstrates one way of achieving maximum use of the existing roads.
A detailed report has recently been published in Bonn dealing with what we call work accidents.
In Germany, the term work accident has a certain clearly defined meaning.
A work accident being an accident that occurs at the place of work, on the premises of the factory, or on the way to or from work.
No matter whether a worker is injured while operating a machine, an office clerk slips in the corridor and falls down, or a person falls and hurts himself getting off the bus on his way home from work. If it is proved that he was on his way to work, on his way home from work, or actually at work when the accident happened, then the accident comes under the category of work accidents.
This is extremely important because in Germany, work accidents enjoy special national insurance coverage to which all working people are entitled. They don't even have to pay a premium for this insurance because, as laid down by law, this has to be paid by the employer.
Anyone who has to accept financial responsibility, particularly the state, naturally wants to know exactly where the money goes. Therefore, the state insurance agencies keep detailed records of all work accidents and compile a full report every year. From these annual reports, one can see just how many work accidents have occurred during the year under review, how many people were injured, how many fatal casualties there were, as well as the causes of the accidents and the nature of the injuries incurred. All these details are also classified according to age and sex of the accident victim, place and time of the accident, and so on.
Besides these facts and figures, the annual report for 1964, which has now been published by the federal government, also contains some other interesting details. For example, most work accidents, namely 20%, in which people suffered injury, occurred on Mondays, this being the case with men as well as with women. This shows that the danger of accident seems to be greater at the beginning of the week than on other days.
Fatal accidents, on the other hand, occur most frequently at the end of the week, Friday taking the lead with 17.5% of all fatal accidents. It is believed that concentration lessens toward the end of the week, and that people think of the coming holiday weekend rather than keeping their minds on their work.
With regard to the time of day, the report shows that most accidents occur between the 3rd and the 6th hour of work. And it's interesting to note here that in the first half of the working day, more women are involved in accidents than men, whilst towards the end of the working day, it's the other way round. So according to the report, it would appear that fatigue symptoms have a more marked effect on men than on women.
Finally, the report lists the work accidents, both injuries and fatal accidents, according to the season of the year in which they occurred. Here, the peak is reached in the months of June, July, and August, with July holding a slight lead.
This accident report, which was published in such detail for the first time this year, is not intended to be merely a book of statistics. The evaluation of the data it contains will make it possible to step up precautionary measures and in the future to prevent work accidents more effectively. In the third and last item of today's edition of Our Changing World, we're bringing you some sidelights of the Hannover Fair.
The Hannover Fair is an annual exhibition of capital and consumer goods which will take place this year from April the 30th to May the 8th. The fair holds a prominent place in the business life of the Federal Republic. This year, more than 5,600 exhibitors from 30 countries will show their products to potential buyers from 100 countries all over the world. 1,400 of the exhibitors come from abroad, from West and nearly all East European countries, from the USA and Canada, from South America and Africa, from Japan, India and Ceylon. The Hannover Fair has become an exhibition of superlatives in the literal sense of the word. Apart from its bearing on German economic life and international trade, the Hannover Fair prides itself on being the biggest and most spectacular event of its kind in Europe, with its 6.5 million square feet of exhibition space, not to mention the parking lots for 44,000 vehicles. The fair management proudly points out that the fairgrounds are not an unrelieved mass of concrete and glass, but are well landscaped and include more than 1 million square feet of trees, lawns and flower beds. As the latest press release from Hanover indicates, this year's catalogue also surpasses all past catalogues in size, weight and, of course, content. 70,000 have been printed, each one of them weighing 3.5 pounds. It has even been worked out that if all the catalogues were stacked flat one upon the other, they'd make a column 3.4 miles high. If the 70,000 copies were placed in a row, side by side, they'd extend over a distance of nearly 10 miles. Finally, the pages of the entire edition would suffice to cover the entire fairgrounds, parking lots, and several adjoining streets as well. Our Changing World is a presentation by the transcription service of Radio Deutsche Welle, the voice of Germany, Cologne.